Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribhajakatarja Asto Tana Supta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paribhajakatarja Asto Tana Supta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prayam Sikao Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radha Kungiri Govardhan Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premanande all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vacharini Nirvisesha Sanyavadi Paschata Deshatori. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, good morning, one and all. Thank you all for coming. It's such a pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure to be here. Today's class in the beautiful Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 71, verses 39 and 40. Yeah, that's right. So I'll chant 39 and then we'll do 40 together. Govindam grihamaniya deva deva sham adritaha pujayam navidat krit yam pramodo pahato nripaha. Excuse me. Translation. King Yudhishthira respectfully brought Lord Govinda, the supreme god of gods, to his personal quarters. The king was so overcome with joy that he could not remember all the rituals of worship. Purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, as he brought Krishna within the palace, King Yudhishthira became so confused in his jubilation that he practically forgot what he was to do at that time in order to receive Krishna and worship him properly. Text 40. Pritri swasur guru srinam Krishnas chakre vivadanam Swayam cha Krishnaya Rajan Bhaginya cha Vivanditaha Titri swasur guru srinam Krishnas chakre vivadanam Swayam cha Krishnaya Rajan Bhaginya cha Vivanditaha Pitriswa sur guru strinam Krishna's chakre bivadinam Swayam cha Krishnaya Rajan Bhaginya cha Vivanditaha Anyone else? Others? Pitri, his fathers, Swasu, of the sister, Kunti, Guru, of his elders, Strinam, and of the wives, Krishnaha, Lord Krishna, Chakre, performed, Abhivandanam, offering of obeisances, Swayam, himself, Cha, and Krishnaya, by Krishna, Draupadi, Rajan, O king, Parikshit, Bhaginya, by his sister Subhadra, Cha, also, Abhivanditaha, bowed down to, Translation. Lord Krishna bowed down to his aunt and the wives of his elders, O king. And then Draupadi and the Lord's sister bowed down to him. So I say, and you can repeat, Lord Krishna bowed down to his aunt and the wives of his elders, O king. And then Draupadi, and then the Lord's sister bowed down to him. Purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, Lord Krishna delightfully offered his respectful obeisances to Kunti and the other elderly ladies of the palace. His younger sister Subhadra was also standing there with Draupadi, and both offered their respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Om Agyantamarindasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitanjina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sendhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopeka Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gourange Radha Brindavaneshwari Prishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're going, this is the continuing story of Krishna entering the palace. And so it's, this is a very exciting time to all the inhabitants there in Andhra Pradesh. They're all very happy to see Lord Krishna is there. And you can see it's clearly described here. King Yudhishthira respectfully brought Lord Govinda, the supreme god of gods, into his personal quarters. And he was so overcome with joy that he could not remember the rituals of worship. So, in Bhagavad Gita, it says that devotional service is joyously performed. So it should be joyously performed. It's not that we have some service that gives us joy, and then other service we look at and we think, I don't really like this service. It's all devotional service, isn't it? So if we like or dislike, isn't that a perception within our mind? It's a mind work. The mind is working. You see, it should be joyous. As a matter of fact, we can see Yudhishthira, he's not taking this for granted. He's not even thinking of himself as some big king. It's not like, well, I'm really great, I'll allow you into my quarters. He's humble. Even though he knows Krishna very, very well, he's not taking this relationship for granted. And this is from his heart. His total soul is having a reaction towards Krishna. He's jubilant. He's overcome with joy. He knew exactly how to properly greet Krishna. This is the articles of worship and the process of greeting a guest properly. He was very well familiar with this. He knew exactly what to do. I guess we could even say he was expert. And yet, because of his feeling of joy for Krishna being there, he said, what do I do? He's confused out of his joy. It's not awe and reverence. It's out of joy. He's so happy that Krishna's there. He doesn't know what to do next. He's not taking this for granted. He's not thinking, I'm Yudhishthira. of course Krishna would come and visit me. No. He's so happy that Krishna is there. He's overwhelmed with joy. He can hardly perform the actions of greeting Krishna properly. So I think when I think like this, I wonder, why don't I, when I'm doing my service, I guess all of us probably have some service that we do that, let's say, that we like less than other service. Is that true? So hold your hand up if that's true. Yeah, I mean, I really like this, and I really like this, but I kind of like this, but this one, I do it because I've got to. I feel like I should do it. I don't really like it, but it's kind of like, it's been given to me to do, so I feel like I should do it. That is wrong. I hate to deliver the bad news, but that's incorrect. And it's like when you have some problem with your car, it's not running right. The engine is shaking like this. So then you take it to the mechanic, and he's working on it. And he says, you have to change the spark plugs. So everybody knows what spark plugs are? Okay. So you have to change the spark plugs. It's not very expensive. It's not, it can be done in just a few minutes. You have to change them. And you say, no, I'm going to throw the whole car away and get another car. This whole car is useless. Well, it just needs what they call in the West a tweak. Do they say that here? Do they say tweak in India? Just tweak it, fix it, replace the spark plugs. I don't know how much that would cost in India. A couple of thousand rupees maybe. I don't know, but not a lot. So that's all you have to do, is you have to go in and you have to fix that one part. You don't have to change the fuel injector system and all the other stuff. You just have to change that one defective part. So sometimes in our devotional service, we may have one defective little part. You see, I like this service and I like this service, and this service really makes me happy, and this one I don't really like so much. So that's where you need to focus. You need to learn how to appreciate that. Because after all, and now here's some more bad news. I hate to deliver bad news, but you got to do it sometimes. Well, here's the bad news. It's not really about what you want to do, is it? No, it's not. It's not about what is going to give you pleasure. Devotional service is something you do as an offering of love. You like it because it pleases the one that you're offering the service to. If you're offering the service to Guru and Krishna, and you know that it gives them pleasure for you to do your service and do it nicely, then that should give you pleasure. That should give you a surcharge, you see, because that's really what it's all about. If we're performing bhakti yoga. Now this word bhakti, I don't know about in India. I haven't seen it so much, but in the West, they like to parade the word bhakti everywhere. They have a bhakti fest, a bunch of New Age people that get together and get intoxicated and dance. And this is Bhakti Fest. And there's Bhakti clubs and Bhakti collectives and Bhakti this and Bhakti that. And I'm not a gambling man, but I'd bet on this. I'll bet they don't know what Bhakti really means, do they? I don't think they know the full definition. And therefore, I'm going out on a limb here. I don't think they've ever performed Bhakti. But it sure sounds neat to say. It's one of the latest words, one of the latest things that we could say to prove that we're hip, that we're cool, or whatever word the crowd uses now. It's kind of hard for me to keep up with what's hip or cool, you see. So this is just, to many people, just the latest thing to say, to show that I'm advanced in this yoga crowd. You know, the yoga crowd. And they're into stretching and feeling good. And it's all about the body. They want their body to feel well. I can remember talking to many yoga places in the West. I don't do it so much anymore, but for a while there, I was trying to speak at the yoga places. And they were seeming like they were very happy. The thought of, wow, a monk coming to speak. This is so nice, yeah. And then as we got to talking about what will you talk, what will you discuss? When I started telling them that I'm going to be preaching from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, they would say, well, that's a little religious for us. Yeah, can't you just talk about yoga? You know? And I said, at first I would say, no, this is yoga. This is the topmost yoga. This bhakti yoga is the yoga that you're trying to get to by performing your hatha yoga or whatever yoga that it is that you're selling. So this is where you're trying to go. And I'd like to talk about the top tier. And they didn't like that. So it's too, you're going to bring in God? Well, what does God have to do with yoga? These people come here and they want to feel good about themselves. I'm doing yoga. I'm doing the warrior and I'm doing the cobra and I learned all this. I do yoga. You can tell I'm doing well because I have the latest yoga clothes. You know, they have like this yoga uniform, you know, different things that proves that you're serious because you spend a lot of money they spend on these clothes. And so then I learned, oh, okay, I think I'm learning how to play your game. So I would be talking with someone about speaking in their yoga salon. And they would say, what are you going to talk about? And I would say, I'm going to speak about learning to love yourself. And they would go, oh, that sounds so wonderful. They're going to love it. And then I would sit down and give a class on the Bhagavad Gita and never be invited back. But I made some nice connections and I got the whole room to chant Hare Krishna. And I got the whole room to agree that they're not their bodies. You know? So, and I made them promise, you'll chant some Hare Krishna every day. I can tell the owners are over in the corner whispering to each other. As soon as this guy's over, let's get him out of here. So one time up in Flagstaff, Arizona, I gave a class on that very subject. And this big yoga salon was full. It was full. And after it was over, there was a line of people. It took me 45 minutes to get out the door because people were lined up and they had personal questions. They asked good questions after the lecture. Then they wanted to ask personal application. It took forever. People were so interested. And so they were asking the owners, can we have him back? Can we have the Swami come back? Oh, yes. How often? Oh, perhaps once a quarter, once every 3 months. Oh, this is wonderful. Yes, this is great. I never got a call, and they never returned my calls after that. I was like, too much God for us, you see. So this is not bhakti. They honestly don't know. And I'm sure they believe in yoga. You know, they put a lot of their time and effort into teaching it, to making, stretch and feel real good. And then you get that feel good about yourself because you can brag about it. Maybe at work, you can say, yes, I do yoga. I go to yoga twice a week or whatever. I don't know how often they go, but we do yoga every day. But maybe that's too much yoga, huh? For them. But maybe we're a little fanatic. Jadwaita Swami told me that when they call me fanatic, I take it as a compliment. So, according to the rest of the world's opinion, we may be a little fanatic, but that's good. We want to be a little fanatic, you see. We want to be so joyous in our delivery of our bhakti yoga, our service to Guru and Krishna, that that we feel it. We should know. I'm so joyous that sometimes I might get confused. You see, Srila Prabhupada, when at the opening of the Krishna Balaram temple, 1974. Yeah, I think it was 1974. Prabhupada was so excited. He wanted to do the first arti to Krishna Balaram. And he was so excited that he was confused of what should I do for, he was so excited. He was so happy. This moment has finally arrived. The Krishna Balaram Mandir was the first temple that we built from the ground. The first ISKCON temple that we built from the ground up. You see, everything else was a church maybe that we bought and converted it into a mandir, which are very nice, but this was the first one. And Prabhupada was so happy. He was so excited. He's making this offering to his guru, to Krishna Balaram. This is a dream come true. 75? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get there until 76. That's right. Yeah, so I was thinking I got there in 75 and it was 74, but actually, 1975. So here it is, 1975. This is 10 years after Prabhupada landed in the West. And now he's opening this temple. This was joyous. Prabhupada was joyous. You can see it on his face. There's pictures of him offering the arti. He would turn to the assembled devotees to offer the fan. And his smile, he was jubilant. He was so happy. It's a dream come true. So actually, every little bit of service that we do is a dream come true, isn't it? It really is. It depends on how you work it in your mind. How do you perceive what it is that's happening? So how jubilant you are is between you and you, not the service. So this is a perfect demonstration. Maharaj Yudhisthira, this isn't, he's not acting, he's not trying to impress Krishna. He's overwhelmed with joy. Krishna's here. Beautiful, wonderful Krishna is here. So it says in the verse that Lord Govinda, the supreme God of gods, had come. But Yudhishthira is not seeing him as the supreme God of gods, is he? He's seeing him as wonderful Krishna. So if it was the supreme God of gods, he would have been overcome by awe and reverence, you see. But he was overcome by joy. He didn't know how to properly do the next thing that he was supposed to do. He probably had help from ministers that were whispering, "You're supposed to blow the conch shell." Which one's the conch? It's this one here, Maharaj. You know, he was excited. So it's like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, when will that day be mine? When will that be ours when we're so happy? So when will we feel that gratitude that I got to do this service? I should be grateful. I got to do this service. I was awarded this service, you see. And not let our mind say, well, I don't know if I like this service. You know, maybe I could. Hey, there's a new guy. You ever notice that sometimes in temples? You get a new guy that comes, and there's 3 or 4 people that hit on him right away. Hey, would you like to take this service? And the temple president sometimes, if they catch on, they say, no, you continue your service. And we'll see that he serves properly, but that's not your position. But you ever notice that? It's common. Oh, it's a new devotee, here they come. Prabhu, would you like to clean the stool room? It's a great, wonderful service. It'll give you great joy. Well, then why don't you keep it? Because I want to award it to you, because I am your friend. So I've seen that a lot through the years. New devotee means it's a chance to dump my service that I don't like so much. That's wrong. We need to fix that. You need to fix it. And you can. See it as a privilege. I mean, if there was a service that no one else would do, would you step up and say, I'll do it? If you can do that, then maybe you've got the propensity to be the temple president, because that's kind of what it's like to be a temple president, you know, isn't it? It's something that I can't get anyone else to do, you know. Yeah. Sometimes the most loved and oftentimes the most hated person in the temple, you know. So yeah, we should get to the point where we can control our minds. When the mind is thinking, I don't like this service, tell your mind, stop it. It's 2 magic words that work. They work with me and my mind when I have to deal with the mind. That's those 2 magic words. Stop it. Stop it. Whatever you're doing, stop. And the mind will, so look, I'm the soul. I'm in charge. You're not in charge. You thought you were in charge for billions of lifetimes. You thought you had me convinced that you were me. You were my representative. You told me what I wanted to eat and what I wanted to do, and you put forth all these suggestions, you know, but you were generally wrong, and now I'm in charge. You work for me. And the mind will become your dearmost friend. I mean, you have to sometimes whip it with a shoe. Sometimes you have to whip it with a big shoe, a big boot, but it'll fall in, it'll train, it'll learn, it'll become your friend. So when your mind is starting to say, I don't really like this service, I don't think I want to do this, just say no. No, you're going to do it. You're going to do it, and you're going to do it well. But if I do it really well, then I get to keep the service. That's right. You get to keep your service. How bad news is that? Or is it just work? When does devotional service turn into just work? When it hits your mind and your mind processes it. The mind says, no, this is just work. It's work that I don't like. And it's time for you to step in and say, no, I'm not going to have any of this. We are not going to go there. So Lord Krishna bowed down to his aunt and his wife and the wives of his elders. So this is Krishna demonstrating the proper duties, prescribed duties. Krishna always shows us prescribed duties. He shows how we should be leaders. How should a leader be? Krishna is defining a leader. Of course, he's the supreme God of gods. He knows that. Everybody in the room knows that. But he's being Govinda. He's being the dearmost friend. He's being the nephew, the brother, the friend. He's not being God, is he? He's being the nephew to his aunt. He's bowing down, paying obeisances to her lotus feet. And he is not just faking it. Now, Krishna is tasting the nectar of properly offering due respect to his aunt and the queens, the elder wives of the elders. You see, he gets to experience this. He doesn't think, well, I'm God and I have to do this just so they see me do it. No, he's tasting this pleasure. This is a great pleasure for Krishna to pay obeisances. Krishna knows he's God. He doesn't have to prove it to anybody. He doesn't have to prove it to himself. If you're a senior devotee, you don't have to prove it to anybody. You don't have to prove it. Well, you shouldn't have to prove it to yourself. Expect to be treated in a senior way. There's that story, I think it was, I forget which airport it was. I kind of think it was in Dallas, at Love Field in Dallas. But Srila Prabhupada had come through the airport, and the airport was full of devotees, just full. And it was restricting the traffic. People couldn't get across the hall to get to their flights because it's full of devotees. And so one of the officials took a loudspeaker and he got on the loudspeaker and he said, all the Hare Krishna devotees should move to the next room. And so Prabhupada immediately started to walk to the next room. He was the first one to go. And then finally people were like, what? They were noticing, hey, Prabhupada's going over there. So the devotees followed Prabhupada. But Prabhupada didn't say, do you know who you're talking to here? Huh? What? If I want to go, I'll go. If I want to stay, I'll stay. No, without any question. He recognized the authority. And he knew there must be some reason why they want us to move. So Prabhupada immediately obeyed. And if he hadn't, no one would have probably moved. So what do they call it? A reflex. There's a reflex. Prabhupada did the right thing. He didn't have to prove to himself or anyone his position. What does that matter? It matters that we recognize his position, you see. But he did his prescribed duties. He followed the instructions of the authority. These people are the authority of this airport, you see. So Krishna's doing what he knows in his heart that he should do and he wants to do. And then his sister and Draupadi, Subhadra and Draupadi, they pay their obeisances to Krishna. So you can see this beautiful scene, what all's going on here. Yudhisthira is so happy, he's fumbling. He doesn't know what to do. Krishna pays his Dandavat obeisances to his aunt and the senior wives of the senior men. And then Draupadi and Subhadra pay their obeisances to Krishna. It's a very wonderful, happy scene, isn't it? This is proper. This is what happens when things are done the way they should be. There's harmony. Everything is happening harmoniously. This is the nature of the liberated soul. We're harmonious with Krishna's desires. In the spiritual world, there's harmony. Everyone works together. We all have the same purpose, right? We recognize we have the same purpose, and that's to please Krishna. You see? So there's harmony. Now, someone may think, one gopi may think, I like the garland that I made for Krishna better than the one that you made for Krishna. Or, I like the one that you made for Krishna better, and next time I'm going to try to make mine better. So it may be some challenge to each other to do better, you know, could be. But it's not to put the other one down. It's not to criticize, you see. Why, your service may cause me to do better service, you see. So there's harmony. In the material world, there's a definite lack of harmony because I want to put myself in the center. We don't all have Krishna in the center. I have myself, and you're trying to put yourself in the center. And therefore, there has to be conflict. And when we can see, a good example is when you get on the streets. Everyone's trying to get there first. Getting on a bus or getting off a bus, everyone's trying to be the first, you see. So therefore, it kind of gets clogged. So in the spiritual world, there's harmony instead of chaos. So, okay, I think I should pause and see if there's any questions, comments. Or heartfelt criticisms. Nothing? Yes. Is this a criticism? It's okay if it is.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for explaining how to feel joy, happiness in serving Krishna, whichever service has been given to us. Often we find that in the beginning days, even now, when we do our services, we struggle. Even though it's not pleasing, still we do it, knowing well that it's meant for my purification. So I just wanted to know how much we should worry about the feeling, emotion of jolliness, happiness into the services, because uh, uh, um, repeatedly we hear that we are meant to undergo purification. Yeah. So how much should value the emotion here in our services? I want to know.
How much should we value?
Internal emotion like
Ah,
happiness.
uh, we don't really have to try to get happiness. Happiness is there. It's all around us as devotees of Krishna. We're in an ocean of happiness. But sometimes our perception gets off. You see, we start to perceive something that should give us pleasure, should give us joy, as something that's not giving us joy. It's just a working in the mind. We shouldn't strive for happiness. There's plenty of happiness in our lives. So the reason why you may wonder that is because from time to time we get the struggle. So uh, where is the guarantee that it's going to be just clear sailing all the way? Krishna doesn't, in any of the scriptures, where does Krishna make that guarantee that you become a devotee, it's going to be so easy? And would you really want that? Think about it. When you're struggling, you may think, oh, I'd like to not have to struggle. But if you didn't struggle, that leaves a whole big opening for nonsense. If it gets too easy, you know, uh, it's like, does everyone know who Bruce Lee? You know Bruce Lee, the kung fu guy? He had a saying that I like a great deal. And I use it a lot. And I remind myself, he said, don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the ability to deal with a hard life. Because it's going to be hard. You're in the material world. Why, you're in a material body. I mean, this thing can go wrong any minute. You could have one of my disciples in El Paso, Texas, just had to be rushed to the emergency room to have a stent put in because of clogged artery, or else death. Of course, he's not a young fellow, but you see. So he didn't say, but I'm a devotee. I chant Hare Krishna. I follow the regulative principles. Why is this happening to me? Why? No, the body is having some difficulty. Whenever there's some challenge, this is it's a checkpoint. Did you automatically think of Krishna? First and foremost, let's think before we say, oh, Krishna, help me. When there is a struggle, we say, Krishna, this is you. Isn't that right? This is you, Krishna. You're giving me this struggle. Who else is doing it? Krishna is giving me a little bit of turbulence. It's like when you're on the airplane and there's turbulence, they tell you to buckle your seatbelt because it could become a rough ride. So there's turbulence. He's giving you some turbulence. Will you turn to me? It's easy to remember Krishna when there's a little bit of turbulence, a little bit of struggle in your life, if we train ourselves to do so. You see, now, Krishna is going to give us struggle. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta says that the road to God is lined with thorns. The road to God is lined with thorns. Along the path or the path to God, lined with thorns. So there's going to be challenges. It's not going to be just an easy ride. And we don't want it to be. We won't learn anything. If we have a little bit of a turbulent ride, we learn how to take shelter of Krishna. Please, my Lord, show me what I should do. What should I do? Help me learn. Because someday you're going to have to teach what to do to someone who's having a turbulent ride, right? This is good training. You need this. Someday people are going to depend on you to answer questions. How should I? What's going on? Is this Maya? No, it's not. This is Krishna. When you became a devotee, Krishna moved Maya aside and he'll deal directly with you. He'll give you some tests, you see. Of course, Maya's always there if you want her. You can push Krishna aside and go for Maya anytime you want to. But as long as you're focused on serving Guru and Krishna, then it's Krishna that will test you. And it's good that he does. You'll look back and you come out of this test a better man, a better devotee. And from that experience, you become valuable to somebody sometime in the future that will need your help. And you think, oh, yes, I've been there and I've done that. I've learned. Is that a good answer? So don't feel like, oh no, why me? I deserve a lot worse. You know, we should think like that. I'm glad this is all I'm getting. I'm glad that this kick is only so hard, you know. But start looking for Krishna right away when there's some difficulty. Where is he? I know he's here. What is it? What are you trying to tell me? What do you want? Anybody else? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, you were telling about beating the mind uh, when it doesn't want to do some service and anyways doing the service. And sometimes we are defeated by the mind, like we don't like to do a service, and at the end of the day, we end up not doing the service. So then we lose confidence that next time I will get up and somehow do the service only like that. So how to again gain the strength that no, I have to win against the mind.
Yeah, let's not be overly tolerant of ourselves. If you had a servant and they didn't do your service, they had to do service for you, would you tolerate that? You know, if you had someone that's supposed to do, your laundry, that's their service, and you're depending on them, and then you go and it's still dirty, well, you shouldn't tolerate that. So should you do that with yourself? Should you let yourself not do your service? No, we can't go there. We can't do that. To thine own self be true. I think that's Shakespeare. I don't know who it is, but it makes sense. Whether it's Shakespeare or Bob Smith, it doesn't matter because they're both karmis and they don't know. But once in a while, they say even a blind hog will find an acorn. So once in a while, some of these philosophers will actually find something of value. So to thine own self be true. Because you want me to be honest with you, don't you? And you want him to be honest with you. You want her to be honest with you. Why don't you be honest with yourself? Doesn't make any sense. Be good to yourself. Be a good friend to yourself. How can you be a good friend to him if you're not a good friend to yourself? A good friend to yourself, you say, no, I can't tolerate this. Not doing the service, unacceptable. That's not even an option. So maybe I'm not at the point yet where I'll appreciate the service. And I'm not at the point where I can like the service. But I'm going to do my service. And I'm going to do it well because it's an offering to Guru and Krishna. And someday I'll get some love behind that offering and some devotion. Then I can really do the service because I know if I'm doing my service, that's part of me being in harmony with my community. This community is like a machine that runs, and all the different parts have to do their job in the machine, or otherwise there's some malfunction because this one part didn't do its job. Then the rest of it suffers. You see, that's lack of harmony. But in a spiritual community where we're somewhat emulating liberated people, we're emulating the spiritual world because we're devotees. We're doing what devotees do. You see, so that means we're in harmony with the community. It's what we're going to do when we go back home, right? Are you going to try to pull that on Krishna? When you go home and there's a service here that you don't like. And as soon as you go back home, when Krishna is finished hugging you and kissing your cheeks, and he feeds you sumptuously, and then he says, I've got this service for you. And it's that service that you didn't like here. What are you going to say to Krishna? Oh, no. I don't want to do that. No, you're not going to say that. So why say it now? Why say it to Krishna now? Because he's not here in your face? I mean, he is. We just can't see him, or we don't give him credit for being here with us, you see, but he is. We're just not able to see that yet. Does that make any sense? So sometimes you have to tell yourself that's unacceptable behavior. I can't do that. I can't accept that. You know, be honest with yourself. Be a friend. That's what you would tell a friend. I mean, we all want friends. We all want people to treat us like friends. We should treat ourselves like a friend. It only makes sense. Is that okay? Do we have time for one more? Anybody have anything else? All right, last one.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. As you are telling that bhakti means doing things what Krishna wants for pleasure of Krishna. But if we just do things what Krishna wants, is it not that we become like machine? Then what about our free wills which Krishna has given us? That means
he gave it to you, right? He gave you free will.
Yeah.
And so let's hand it back to him. Thank you. You gave me this nice free will, Krishna, but I don't really need it, because my free will is that I want what you want. So it was nice of you to give me the free will, but I'm giving it back to you. My will is what your will is. That's bhakti. I want what you want. When I do that, now I'm performing like a functioning soul. I'm a functioning living entity, because that's what the living entity does. The living entity serves Krishna with love and devotion, bhakti. Whatever Krishna wants, and the living entity, when the living entity is doing like that, then he's functioning. He's fine-tuned. He's working. When we're not doing what Krishna wants, then we're malfunctioning. You see? We're not doing what we're good at. We're really good as parts and parcels of Krishna. We're really good at doing what Krishna wants. And we're so good that we can actually anticipate what Krishna wants, because we get so wrapped up in our bhakti. We want to serve Krishna so nicely. We're so caught up. It's like Yudhishthira Maharaj. He's caught up and is joyously wanting to serve Krishna. So we should be caught up joyously wanting to please Krishna. Then you're functioning. You're working. And when we're not doing like that, we're malfunctioning. We're not doing what we're good at. And that's a shame. We shouldn't, because we really are good at doing what Krishna wants. That is our design, you see. We're really good. When we do what we do best, we're happy. We feel good. We feel rightly situated. Everything is good. Krishna is so happy. Look at Krishna's smile. I made him smile. You know? And then you forget. What's the use of free will if you learn how to make Krishna smile? Well, that is my free will then. My free will is to make Krishna smile. If you cook something and Krishna, he gobbles it down and he comes in and grabs you in his arms and says, "That was so wonderful. That was so nice. Thank you very much." Well, that's probably going to make you feel pretty good, right? I would probably say, I'd go so far as to say that's going to give you ecstasy. So what can we do for ourselves that will give us ecstasy? It's just, there's nothing we can do for ourselves that will give ourselves ecstasy, because that's not what we do. We're not very good at that. We're doing something that's foreign to us, you see. When you get into the realm of doing what Krishna wants, now we're in our zone, you know. Now we can really perform. Does that make any sense? So take that free will, wrap it up real nice, make it pretty, and give it back to Krishna. Here, take it away. Please, take it quick. Keep it away from me. It gets me into trouble. And then remember all of the trouble that your free will has gotten you into. struggles that it causes. What do you need with it? You tell Krishna, you gave me this free will. Now my free will is that you take it back. Because my will is that I want to make you happy.
Little more clarification, Prabhuji, that let us say I know some item to cook very properly, and there are some other items which I don't want, I don't know to cook. So if I cook the item which I know is that I mean, will that not make Krishna happy? If I am doing it for pleasure of Krishna, and I know I like this item, and I know how to cook it better, so will that not make Krishna happy?
If you cook it, you don't like to cook it, but Krishna likes it. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that I know some item to cook very properly, and if I cook that item for pleasure of Krishna, then will it not please Krishna?
Well, you're going to cook it for Krishna, and you don't know how to cook it properly, but you know Krishna likes it. So you may ask Krishna, please empower me to cook this nicely for you. I want to cook this dish that you like, but I'm not expert at it. I need you to empower me. Please empower me to do it. You see, I want to do it for you. The end result is I want to see you smile. I want you to be happy. And I'm not expert in preparing this preparation. So please empower me to be expert, to cook it for you. That's bhakti. It's not that you're cooking it because you like it or it's fun to cook. You know, Krishna likes it. And so I don't know how to do it nicely, but I'm asking you, Krishna, please empower me to cook it nicely for you. Of course, Krishna's, whatever potency that you have anyway, has got to come from Krishna. Everything we do is empowerment from Krishna. Are we able to raise our arm up? Or are we empowered by Krishna to raise our arm up? What is it that we're able to do? I'm not the potent. I'm the potency. You see, Krishna is the potent. He's the energetic. We're the energy. You see. So I depend on him for whatever talent that I may need to serve him. If I already know how to cook something nicely, then I already have that realization of that potency coming from Krishna. You see, I'm already empowered. Now I'm trying to cook something for Krishna that I don't know how to cook. I need you to empower me, Krishna. Please. And then if you try to cook it and it doesn't work, and Krishna says, this doesn't taste very good, you can say, well, I asked you for empowerment. And he'll say, yeah, you did. I'm just joking with you. This is very good.
I'm saying the other way, Prabhuji, that I know something already, because when we came in Bhakti previously, whatever we have done, so some skill, some talent we already have. And if we use that talent for pleasure of Krishna, will that not please Krishna? Or we should learn some new talent which is required for pleasure of Krishna?
Well, the talents that you already have came from Krishna. They don't come from us. They came from Krishna. Krishna is the source of all sources. So whatever talent we have now came from Krishna. Whatever talent we need to serve Krishna, that will also come from Krishna. Whatever we need, Krishna will give it. I need more faith. Krishna says, oh, okay, here's more faith. I mean, he's there to help. Krishna always wants to help. Does that answer your question? All right. Okay. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare